Today we're delivering Fleet and Dasher setup.
And answering, how is Bixby useful as a courier?
I am so excited to be delivering these tips and all things delivery really for consumers and drivers. Thank you for checking us out.
Ciao, amici miei.
What's up, couriers? I'm Deion.
And I'm Aya. Welcome to our channel. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. We help couriers and their customers maximize their time and money by teaching best practices. So please consider subscribing so you never miss a delivery.
Before we get into the settings, we have to go in and trust Doordash and Postmates. For Doordash, it's Palo Alto Delivery, and for Postmates, it's a little more straight up. It's Postmates Inc. You can easily do this by going into your settings, then click General, Device Maintenance, and click Trust for Palo Alto, or clicking Trust for Postmates Inc. For Postmates, the app is called Fleet. There are a few things you can do right away. You can add your bank account, and you can upload a selfie. Other than that, you have to wait until after your card arrives and after you activate it. But once you get that done, there are a few preferences we can go in and change. So we're going to do this by getting into your account, which is your icon in the top left corner, clicking on Settings, and then going into your preferences. New Office is just referring to how you would like to accept your incoming orders. You can obviously do it manually, or you can turn on Auto Accept, which will automatically accept any order that comes to your phone. Next, you can decide whether you want to have Blitz notifications. All Blitz is really when there's a high demand of orders going on in a concentrated area, and Fleet is just trying to get you out there so you can make some money. Lastly, pick the navigation app of your choice. Moving right along to Doordash, the only preference is choosing your navigation app. You can do this by getting into your profile, clicking the top 3 lines in the left-hand corner, then going into settings.
So you'll need to get in contact with both Postmates and Doordash at some point, I'm sure. You can chat with support during an active delivery. Other ways we recommend contacting them are through Twitter. They're pretty quick on Twitter.
Sliding them DMs.
That's what I was going to say. I'd recommend going ahead and sending them a DM, because if you mention them, they'll just end up telling you, please send us your information through DM. Bookmarking their support pages, so their Q&A pages where you can also send them an email for a less time-sensitive matter. So for my Android users, I have a few golden nuggets for you guys, including how I've programmed Bixby to help me along with my drives. To start out, go into your phone settings. The way I get into mine is pulling down my notifications bar, and there's a gear icon in the top right. I'm also operating on a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, so depending on which operating system you have, your settings may look a little bit different, but pretty much all the same. The first setting we're going to get into are your advanced features. I like to have one-handed mode turned on. Go into that, flip that on, and I use gesture, which allows me to slide up from one side of my screen to size my screen down in a way that enables me to operate it with one hand. The next feature that you must turn on in order for the Bixby commands to work the way I've programmed them is multi-window. So turn multi-window on, and for use recents button, go ahead and click split screen view and make sure that pop-up view action is toggled on. Another feature that I really enjoy is palm swipe to capture, which allows you to lay the side of your palm on your device and slide across the screen to capture a screenshot. The last one I want to talk about is send SOS message, and I haven't figured out a way to program Bixby to add this function into my list. However, the function basically works by allowing you to tap your power button 3 times quickly in the case of an emergency, and it sends an SOS message to a contact that you've already programmed in your phone. So my SOS message would go to my mom. Next, go into apps. In each of the apps that we recommended for you today, you'll need to configure individually. So I'll start with my Dasher app to give you an example of the steps you need to go through. Go into mobile data and make sure that allow background data usage is toggled on, and allow app while data saver is on. Don't know why I couldn't say that. That just ensures that even as your phone battery starts to decrease, you're still able to use all the functions of your app. Next, make sure that all of your notifications options are turned on for each app. That's just to make sure that you never miss any delivery notifications. Next, go into permissions and just make sure that they have access to all your information, including social security number and date of birth. No,
I'm glad I'm not an Android user.
Just make sure that their camera contacts all of the options that they have available are turned on. Their functions are interconnected, and if you have one of them turned on, it may unfortunately mean that a separate function may not work for you. Under advanced, make sure that apps that can appear on top is toggled on. So next we'll talk about your voice assistants. I use Bixby and Google Assistants in combination with one another. Bixby is the native Android voice assistant, so it can dive deeper into your settings and do two-step operations. However, Google Assistant is also built into Samsung devices, and I find it to be much faster, much more effective for accessing information. To sign into Google Assistant, you should already have been signed in on your Samsung account because it usually uses Gmail. If not, hold your home button and click the compass in the top right corner after your voice assistant is activated. Click the top 3 lines in the right hand corner of that screen and click account. Sign in through your Gmail and you're good to go. Go into your settings, tab over to assistant, and all the way at the bottom is going to be phone. That's where you go in to configure your voice assistant. Click on access with voice match and make sure that's toggled on. You're welcome to toggle on unlock with voice match, which allows you to use OK Google even when your phone is locked. But to configure, click on voice model and click train voice model. You may have already done this, so your 2 options will say retrain voice model or delete voice model. That's it for training your Google Assistant. There's a number of other settings that you can go into. I'd recommend going into other hands-free settings and make sure that Bluetooth devices and wired headsets are on. You can also connect a couple different apps that interact well with your Google Assistant, but you can just play around with those options that they have there. The coolest thing that I've been able to do with Bixby is help it configure my phone to start my rides and help me place orders over the phone that need to be ordered ahead of time as I'm going to the restaurant. So to train Bixby, go to your Bixby homepage by sliding all the way to the last screen on your homepage. If this happens to be disabled, just hold an empty space anywhere on your home screen, scroll to the left, and then toggle on Bixby homepage. Once you're in your Bixby homepage, to get into your settings, click the 3 dots on the top right and click Enhance Voice Recognition, and it will take you through the steps to configure your voice for your Bixby assistant. Some settings that I recommend turning on are record aloud and high quality, and toggling on voice apps and services, which just allows Bixby to communicate with some apps that are compatible on your device. For the fun part, I've programmed a few quick commands, which is basically a series of actions taken by your phone, launched by a specific phrase or keyword or something like that. So I programmed Bixby to configure my phone settings a certain way before I start my shift, and then open all the apps that I'll be using, so Fleet, Dasher, Mile Tracker, Google Assistant, and Waze. I've also programmed Bixby to help me call in orders, so that just launches my delivery app and my phone app in split screen view. I've programmed it to refresh all of my apps, which just closes down my delivery apps and reopens them and puts me back online. And I programmed it to help me accept a delivery and route at the same time by opening the delivery app and my navigation app in split screen view. To program these quick commands, you'll say each command out loud. So you'll say, "Hi Bixby," and the command you want to execute. Then once you've set each command that you want her to execute as part of your quick command, go into your Bixby homepage, click My Bixby, go to Quick Commands, and then add each individual command into your one quick command. Some things to note are that you have to be very deliberate about what you say. For example, you have to talk like this in order for Bixby to recognize each word clearly. Google Assistant is a little bit more intuitive. You can just say one long string the way you normally talk and don't have to talk like a robot. But for now, that's just the best way that Bixby works. And there's 2 ways to enable Bixby. You can use your Bixby button, which is the only thing it's good for.
There's a whole button just for Bixby.
There's a whole button, and that's all it does is communicate with Bixby. And you can use it like a walkie-talkie, so hold it, say, and just follow through with what you'd like to say. Or if you have Hi Bixby enabled, you can say, "Hi Bixby," wait for her to launch, and then follow through with your command. A couple things I recommend are to create a command to undo the settings that you program your quick command for the beginning of your shift. That way, so that all your settings can go back to normal when you're finished. I recommend going ahead and saying all your commands at once and then adding them in all at once. And as I mentioned before, there's no command to turn on SOS message. So if you're working at night and you would prefer to have that feature turned on, just don't forget to go back and have that turned on before you get started. So there's no picture-in-picture when you're using pop-up view. So if you use picture-in-picture with YouTube or any of your other apps, that won't work when you're using pop-up view. So just something to keep in mind. Here are my quick commands in action.
Hi, Bixby. I'm going driving.
So for all my Bixby users, let's try to get a thread going of all the helpful Bixby commands that you've come up with. Let's see how efficient we can get with Bixby.
Now we're ready to get out there and deliver as soon as our cart arrives.
Happy hustling. Our next video is for our customers. We're comparing the Postmates versus Doordash customer experience.
Like and subscribe